Hey guys, Vlad Python here, and I'm super excited to share the latest news of AIbitat. I'm going to show you how to set up your own machine to execute this project and also initiate your very own first project. So the very first thing we are going to need to do is install Bun. Bun is a runtime executor for Typescript. So just go to their website and click on this line of code to copy the installation script and paste it on your terminal. Now that you have Bun installed on your machine, just head back to the GitHub repo, roll down until you see the instructions and copy the first instruction. Open terminal, execute this line. It is going to make some questions to name the project. In my case, I'm going to stick with the defaults. And that is going to stop when the project finish initiation and install AIbitat as a dependency. Now that I have Bun installed on my machine and my project initiated, it is time to set up the environment variables. So to do that, just open the folder that you just created on your Visual Studio. File, open folder. Now that I have the folder opened, I'm gonna create a new file. To do that, I'm gonna click on this little icon here called new file and name it .env. Inside this file, I'll need to set up a browserless token, which is the services that I'm going to use to scrape websites. In this case, I'm going to scrape the AIbitat documentation to auto-generate my new theme. And also I'm going to get my OpenAI API token and Anthropic API token. In my case, I already done this, so I don't need to do that, but just head to their websites and sign up on their pages. Okay, now that I have my project initiated and configured with the correct environment variables, I can start using AIbitat. So the first thing that I'm going to show is that we do have one CLI that can help you create your first theme. So we are going to come here to our terminal, click on this little icon on your top right, and then this terminal it is going to pop up. Type in Bun.sh AIbitat. That is going to ask you what kind of tasks your team needs to accomplish. In this case here, I'm gonna just create a Twitter thread. So what AIbitat is going to try to create a team that it is optimized to accomplish that task. It's not always perfect, but it is going to at least give you a good starting point. AIbitat has came back to me with a team and created a file called create Twitter thread. It is even explaining here what I need to do to execute this, and it is asking for any more feedback. In this case here, I'm glad with this outcome. I'm not gonna do anything, just type exit. Let's close this tab and have a look on this file. All right. In this case here, my VS Code is not configured to break the lines, so it makes it a little bit harder to read, especially the rows. So what I'm going to do is go back to Views and click on Word Wrap. This is going to break the lines, that's easier to read. So let's have a look in here. It came back to me with a social media specialist describing what the social media needs to do, the content creator, a graphic designer, a project manager, and it with a simple prompt. It doesn't explain what the Twitter thread needs to be. This is a pretty simple prompt. It is not going to create the best Twitter thread ever, but it is going to give me something. So in this case here, I'm not gonna rely on the graphic designer. I don't need that. I'm gonna just comment these lines and come to the graphic designing here too. Also, in this case here, the AIbitat understood that the user is going to be interrupting in giving feedback every time that the social media specialist need to talk. This is not the case. I actually want to be playing the role of the project manager or something like the client or something like that. So I'm gonna move this line here to the project manager agent. Okay, cool. This is something that we can start with. I'm pretty happy with that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is come back to our terminal and execute this line of code. So let's copy and paste. Cool. Project manager, it is going to start the project. What? It gave me an error here. Okay, I know what it is. It is this console log. We don't need that. We can delete this line. Okay, save the file and come back again. Let's start over. Executing the same line. The project manager asked the content to create content. It needs actually help and identifying the topic. So let's talk about dogs or cats. Okay, the content creator just came back to me with the 10 reasons why a dog makes the best pets. The social media specialist did something here. Alright, in this case here, they both reason really badly because they mostly use ChatGPT 3 as their default. So I'm gonna change that. Just gonna add ChatGPT 4 as their default model. So ChatGPT 4. Let's run it again, exit, and see what happened. What they need to talk about. Talk about what kinds of pets we can have at home. So the social media specialist, absolutely, outdoor and indoor pets are definitely a trending topic. We can brand the conversation, blah, blah, blah. I'll draft a Twitter thread and share it for your review shortly. The content creator came back with the Twitter thread and asked for feedback, and that looks good to me, but I don't like the lots of emojis, so it looks good to me, but remove the emojis. There you go. Basically, you could keep chatting with both agents here until you are happy with the results. All right, I'm gonna quit this. Let's go dive into the API now. So what the API now allows you to do is you could define default providers for all agents and also channels. You could also interrupt the conversation every time, but that's something not always you want to do. So the default is never here. So what you could do right now on the API is define providers and models for all agents and all channels together. In this case here, we do have a default of GPT-4 for reasoning or who is next to talk, and GPT 3.5 for each agent that are in the conversation. You could also define your initial conversations if you want to, and define when the chats needed to be interrupted, and also define the limits of how many rounds a chat can go. On the next line, we do have this use method, which is calling the CLI. CLI is not needed if you are in a different environment. In this case here, I'm running on my terminal, so I do need to have the CLI. What this function does is allows you to enable some plugins. This AIbitat is highly customizable. You could download plugins from another third party and just start using it without having much more hassle. A list of available plugins is on the GitHub website on the documentation section. You're going to see the default plugins that I already have implemented. If you want to implement some plugin yourself, you could just go there and read it about. It's pretty simple. You could be implemented this in a day or so. If you paid attention when we started the CLI and generated our team, you notice that we needed to scrape the documentation to know how to create this file, this create Twitter thread. So another plugin available here is file history, which is going to save all the history of the conversation in a JSON file. We do have the experimental web browsing as well. So this one, it is going to enable a function called web browsing to our agent. So to use that, just import the experimental web browsing. Go to your agent. In this case here, I think I'm going to go with the social media specialist. I'm going to call in here web browsing. Now I need to specify where this agent is going to search online. Your tasks are to research relevant topics. You research online relevant topics, write and maintain scheduled tweets, blah, 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 blah. That looks good to me. Let's try it. Come back here, execute it again, Any point you'd like to cover? No, nothing specific. Okay, look it up. The latest news online, social. No, it's not the social. It is the it is the social media specialist. Okay, cool. You're right. So now the social media specialist, it is going to search on Google. Keep in mind this web browsing function, it is highly experimental, so I'm still playing with it to make it a little bit better for the agents to execute, then go back and scrape websites and do all sorts of stuff. So if this doesn't fit your case at the moment, just give us feedback. That is going to help us improve this function. I hope you guys can build cool stuff with this and show me it works. Keep in mind, this is extremely experimental. I just started writing this framework. It could change in the near future, especially if you give us feedback. Feel free to reach out on Twitter, on GitHub, or whatever other social media you want to. Don't forget to subscribe and start the GitHub page to get to know when new stuff comes out. All right? See you guys soon.